on my own. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare 'cause the flames won't burn us.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another video, and today I'm doing What If Deku, was Deadpool, Part 1. My last video did not premiere for some stupid reason. Apparently, it was too long, so I couldn't premiere it. I mean, I couldn't even get it onto my computer, because apparently it was too long, so. I mean, I've seen other people premiere theirs, and theirs were 28 minutes. But what's stupid is, I guess they must be screen recording on PC or something. So and if you guys did not know, I screen record on mobile. Everything I do for YouTube is on mobile. Other than, my streams. Those are on PlayStation. So yeah. If you guys do enjoy the video, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe, and while you're at it, United States of, smash the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video, because you wouldn't want to miss out on a brand new video. Like, you could be the first person to make it to one of my videos, but because you don't have the bell icon wrong, you would miss out. I mean, you'd probably eventually find out about it, but how long would that take? And I've been doing streams lately, so if I go live, you would totally miss it. You'd have to watch it when it's not live. Who watches live streams when they're not live? It's called live streams for a reason. So you wouldn't want to miss out on that, and you would if you don't have the bell icon wrong. So make sure you do have that bell wrong. So let's go ahead and get into this. So when Deku's born, it's just a normal birth. He's normal. Everything's normal about him. So we're going to skip 3.5 years. So, Deku's at the playground just playing with his toys, and he sees a girl get pushed to the ground. And Deku overhears what's going on, and Bakugo, or Kacchan, is bullying this girl because of how poor she is. Deku gets very upset by this, and he storms over to Bakugo and pushes him to the ground. And he says, "That isn't very kind of you, Bakugo. If you want to be a hero like All Might, you can't go pushing people around." And then Bakugo's like, "You just pushed me!" And then he gets up and pushes Deku. And then Bakugo's goons, because I'm pretty sure Bakugo had his goons around that age, because the flashbacks were around when Deku was like 4 to 3. So, yeah, I can imagine he has his goons. So, Bakugo tells his goons to, beat Deku up. So, they're like kind of punching Deku. Like, just take this with a grain of salt, because they're toddlers, basically. 3.5 years old for all of them. So, take it with a grain of salt. And Bakugo's like, when all of it's done, Bakugo's like, "How about you go get cancer? I'm sure your quirk isn't gonna be that good anyways." And Bakugo and his goons storm off. The girl that was being bullied walks over to Deku and says, "They're mean, but thank you for standing up to me." And Deku's like, it's what a hero does. Only villains would push around a girl like that. And then Deku's like, what's your name? And the girl says, my name's Uraraka. I live down the street over there. And then Deku looks down there and he realizes that's the lower end of the neighborhood. And Deku's like, you should come and play sometime. And Uraraka's like, I'd be glad to. So, from all the way up till Deku is 4 years old, he's been playing with Uraraka. But, Deku, when, maybe on his 4th birthday, they go to the quirk doctor and they find out that Deku has cancer. And Deku doesn't have a quirk. So Deku just got double whammied. Inko is furious at this. 'Cause not only did she lose her husband, but now she has a useless son who's probably going to die. And Imko looks down at Deku as he drops his toy and says, I wish you were a miscarriage. And she grabs Deku by the arm and yanks him out of the doctor's office. The doctor says, wait, do you not want him to get... And then Imko slams the door behind them. So, Inko throws Deku in the car and slams the door behind him. She gets in the car and she drives till she gets to the worst part of the city. She gets out. Deku is still petrified at not only his mother's rage, but the double whammy he just got hit with. He got hit with cancer and he didn't have a quirk. It's like a kid not getting presents on Christmas and also getting cancer at the same time. Imagine how horrible that would be to a 4-year-old. Pretty bad. So, Inko, throws open the door and grabs Deku by the collar and throws him onto the street. And she tells Deku a sentence that he will never forget. You are nothing, Deku. This shattered his world as he watched his mother drive away. So, Deku, for that time, just wanders the street as he gradually loses his hair. He would constantly be getting beat up by thugs on the street. He would constantly be getting abused by anyone. He'd just ask for some money, and they'd see that he was going bald, and he had a black eye and all that, and they would just kick him. They'd kick him onto the curb like his mother did. So, one day, Deku's just wandering the street, accepting the fact that he's probably going to die soon. Till a van pulls up next to him. And some goons get out, and Deku turns around, puts his hands in the air and says, I have no money. And they grab Deku and say, we don't need your money, kid. how would you like to get a quirk and be rid of this disease you have? And Deku smiles and says, I would love it. And they throw Deku in the back of the van and say, stay quiet till we get to the place. Deku may be scared at this moment, but he's more happy than scared. He knows that it may be a trick, but the fact that he may actually escape this nightmare just overwhelms it. And he just accepts that even if this is the day I die, he just thinks of how he was probably going to die in a couple days anyways. So they get to the place and they're just kind of guiding him inside, and eventually they get to a room with a seat. It's like a hospital room, but really run down. And then a doctor spins around the chair and says, hello there, Izuku Midoriya. And Deku's like, no one's called me by my name since I was 4. So I'm gonna say Deku's at least 5 or 6 right now. And the doctor's like, yes, mother abandoned you at 4. You were diagnosed with cancer and did not have a quirk. I have been searching for you, Deku. And then Deku's joy of not being called Deku just kind of ceases to exist. And then the doctor says, now, if you go along with this, you will be freed of the demon that constantly lingers on you. You will not only have a quirk, but you will have been freed by the demon that is slowly killing you. That cancer will be no more. But, one big but. I'm afraid you probably won't die. Ever. And you'll be disfigured. You will never look appealing to any women in your life. You will never look appealing to anyone ever again. And then Deku kind of thinks about it. He'll get a quirk. The cancer will be gone. But he'll never be able to settle down. But Deku thinks that if he's gonna be a hero, then he won't have to deal with settling down. He'll be able to always be happy because he'll be doing what his hero always did. So Deku accepts, and he gets put through actual HELL. And he's constantly getting beaten to a pulp. Constantly being drowned. Constantly being exercised. Like, he's always having to do, like, literally a bodybuilder, like, more than a bodybuilder's workout. He's having to go through such pain. Like, he's being whipped. Like, with a whip, they'd whip him, they'd drown him, they'd stab him, they'd pull his teeth out, they would constantly put him through agonizing pain. And then halfway through it, they give him... Well, actually, no. They gave him the shot. Well, they gave him... Okay, so... Let me go on and explain. There is no Wolverine in this universe. So I'm going to say there is a hero with a massive regeneration quirk. Like, literally, he's able to regenerate from a... like, little piece... like, a tiny piece of blood. So, they took some DNA from him and turned it into a type of vaccine type thing. So when Deku accepted, they sat him down on the table and gave him the shot. And then that's when the training started. So, just had to clarify that. So, eventually, Deku has had enough. He breaks off of the table, grabs the nearest scalpel, and like digs it into the doctor's throat. He kicks the guard in the chin and grabs, and then while he's fighting off the other guards, he spills a cup of coffee onto a severed electrical cord, and it starts a fire. The fire is massive. And then a villain that has a teleportation quirk comes out of nowhere and tries to grab Deku to hold him there. So Deku quickly jumps out of the way and tries to slice through the villain, but it doesn't work. So Deku jumps back, and then another villain tries to get him from the back. So Deku jumps over him, grabs his neck, and breaks it, and then kicks the guy into the teleportation villain, and then the teleportation villain teleports the dead body above Deku, and Deku has to quickly jump out of the way as the dead villain falls from the ceiling. And then and then Deku says, "Who are you?" And then the guy says, "My name is Kirogiri, and I'm afraid you're not allowed to go anywhere." And then Deku jumps up at Kirogiri, and tackles him through a window. And then Kirogiri decides to teleport away. Deku, was in a 7-story building on the 7th floor, and he falls out of the window. And when he makes it to the ground, he smashes his head on the rock, and it kicks him out, knocks him out. Kirogiri, realizing that heroes will probably be coming soon, he gets out of there without trying to get Deku. When Deku wakes up, he is in a room with a bunch of heroes and police officers trying to interrogate him. They ask who he is, and Deku says, I don't know. Who am I? And they're like, "That's why we're asking you, kid. Who are you?" And then Deku looks down, and on his vest, it says codename Deku. Codename Deku. And he's like, Deku. Who is that? And they're like, it's a word to describe someone who's useless. Am I Deku? And they're like, no, you're not useless, kid. Alright, who's this kid's parents, dude? And then, the other police officer's like, I don't know. This kid hasn't even told us his name yet. How are we supposed to find out if he won't give us DNA and won't ask us or won't give us his name? And the other officer is like, I don't know. Ugh. And then Deku pulls down his sleeve and says, and then looks at a name. Deadpool. Villain named Deadpool. And Deku's like, Deadpool. And then he thinks about Deku and Deadpool. And he remembers when his mother abandoned him. You're nothing, Deku. As the car drives away. Then he remembers. I don't. My mom? Is that my mom? I don't know. Who am I? So, without knowing who he is, they couldn't identify who his parents were. So right now, Deku is at least 12. No, 10. Yeah. So they bring him to an adoption center where he's constantly being bullied for being so ugly. Eventually Deku gets so tired of it that he creates a mask. Something to hide his true identity. He puts it over his face and says, I am Deadpool. That's who I am. So, from that point on, Deku tries to search for his identity. So, for a year, he just searched and searched to try and find out who he was. So, yeah. And then, on his 12th birthday, for his birthday, he got adopted by a loving family. Deku didn't know what it felt like to have love, so he didn't understand it. And most of the time, he would just avoid his adopted parents or adoptive family. He would just avoid them at all costs. At one point, his mom tried to get him to the hospital, so he cut his own arm off just to avoid being in a car with them, to avoid going to the doctor, to avoid them, to avoid people. But he still held on to that hope, that heroic instinct in him. He wanted to be a hero no matter what. So, now we're going to skip to the end of middle school. Deku's now 13 years old. So the teacher's like, alright kids, it's time to decide what you guys are going to do with your life. And then he throws the papers up in the air and says, who cares? I know you all want to be heroes. And everyone starts, using their quirks and all that. And then Bakugo gets up on his desk and points at Deku and says, he'll never be a hero. He's way too ugly and scary to be a hero. And he's quirkless. so he'll never be a hero. And besides that, I'm the only one in here worth becoming a hero. All of you aren't anything. And everyone starts like throwing paper balls at Bakugo. And then the teacher says, "Calm down, everyone. You will know you guys aren't allowed to use your quirks." And Bakugo, that is not very heroic to bully someone about their looks. Anyone can be a hero. Except for me, because I'm some stupid middle school teacher having to be a teacher to a bunch of dang imbeciles as he walks out of the class. So Deku's about to leave when Bakugo slams him into a locker and says, "Where do you think you're going, ugly?" And then he throws Deku onto the ground. Deku's like, "You don't want to do this, Bakugo." And Bakugo says, "Or what? And then Deku punches him in the face, knocking him to the ground. And then Bakugo's like, "What the? Oh, I think he broke my jaw." And Deku puts his knee on Bakugo, keeping him down, and then pulls out a pocket knife and holds it to Bakugo's eye and says, "Do you want to be a pirate, Bakugo? Do you want to be One-Eyed Jack? Or Noseless Blackbeard? Or maybe you want to be a skeleton inside of one of those graves with lots of treasure in it?" And Bakugo's like, I'm sorry, leave me alone, dude, leave me alone." As he's trying to get Deku off of him, Bakugo calls out to his goons as Deku just gives them both a glare. They may not have actually been able to see his death glare, but they could feel it through that mask. They could feel the death glare. So they run off. Bakugo's like, "You wimps!" Deku says, "Never bully anyone, Bakugo. That won't make it in the hero world." As he gets off of Bakugo, Bakugo tries to, grab Deku's leg and blow it off. But Deku, started a full-on sprint out of there before a teacher saw them. And, Deku eventually makes it to the shortcut to his, adopted family, and Deku's just kind of thinking how he doesn't want to go back to them, how he wants to find his mom and dad, his actual family. But Deku just ponders the memory he had all those years ago, or 2 years ago. He remembers how the lady said that he was useless twice, and then drove off. He just kind of ponders that as he sees a black goo launching at him. Deku quickly jumps out of the way as he sees a black sludge thing look at him, and he's like, "I didn't know you were a fellow villain." And Deku says, "What makes you think that?" And then he says, "Your mask, and how you're holding a pocket knife in your hand. Were you about to mug someone?" And then Deku is like, "Do you want to die today?" And the sludge villain's like, "Ooh, cocky. I like that type." And then he's like, "You're gonna be an excellent host," as he launches at Deku. Deku, knowing that a knife isn't going to do too well against sludge, and that he isn't strong enough to possibly escape the sludge. So Deku's just kind of dodging around, trying to figure out a plan. As his leg gets captured in some of the sludge villain, and Deku's like, "Oh no." As the sludge villain pulls him down onto the ground, Deku hits his head on the concrete. Deku's like, "Ow, that hurt." And then Deku is like, Hey! Help me! Yeah, you! Help me! Oh, who are you talking to? Help me, dang it! Can you hear me? Yeah, you! Aren't you creating the story? Like, make the sludge villain disappear. Like, give me the strength to kick him up in the air. Or something. And... What? What? You're talking to me. I'm the creator of this story. What? And he's like, whatever, as the sludge villain pulls him inside, and he's like, who are you talking to? Your imaginary friend? Asking him to save you? And Deadpool's like, you don't see him up there? And the sludge villain's like, who? As, Deku decapitates his own head, as his head just starts rolling away. All Might arrives, and All Might just kind of sees Deku get decapitated. And All Might's like, crap, I wasn't able to get here in time. And All Might's like, you'll pay for that, Detroit! Smash! And punches the sludge villain, knocking him out. And then All Might just kind of looks at the decapitated head of Deku and is like, oh, poor kid. Well, sludge villain, you've done it now. Looks like you're not going to jail for petty theft. You're going in for murder. As Deku opens his eyes and is like, whew, man. Can you turn me around? Is there anyone around? Hey, sludge villain, are you still there? Is anyone there? And All Might screams as he's like, you're just ahead. How are you talking? Oh, dang it. Is my time limit starting to give me delusions? Oh. And Deku's like, All Might, is that you? Someone turn me around, please, please, can you sign my autograph? My autograph's in my pocket, can you get it? Please? And then, Deku's body just kind of sits up, and he's like, okay, buddy, reach in your pocket, and pull out the notebook, and give it to All Might. So, All Might's just kind of watching as, Deku's body reaches in his pocket and pulls out a notebook and extends his arm out to try and give it to someone in front of him, but no one's in front of him. And All Might's like, what's going on here? And then All Might passes out. And then Deku's like, All Might? All Might? And then Deku looks up and is like, hey, where's All Might? Where's my body? Yeah, you. There's no one else in the room. I'm talking to you, creator. Put my head back on my body, or else I will show up at your door and make you have to grab your head, because your head's going to be on the ground while your body's standing up. Would you like that? No. Then put my head back on my body so I can see what is going on. Okay. Can't believe I'm being commanded by my own story to do something. Man. So then Deku's body, just kind of stumbles around, feeling on the ground till eventually he comes across Deku's head. And he grabs the head and puts it back on his body as it regenerates back onto his body. About time. And then Deku turns around to see All Might passed out on the ground. So Deku quickly goes over to All Might and slaps him awake. And All Might's like, Oh, thank goodness it was just a dream. Whew. And then All Might gets back up and says, oh, man, what happened? And Deku says, oh, so, I decapitated my head to escape from the sludge villain, and then you punched the sludge villain. I stood up with my body, tried to give my notebook to you, and I guess you passed out or something. And then I had the creator get my body back on my head back on my head, or on my body. Sorry. I'm very nervous because I'm meeting you, and yeah. And All Might's like, who's the creator? And he's like, the guy up in the sky. The people watching this. The person creating this video. And All Might's like, yeah, I have no clue what you're talking about. And then All Might looks down at the notebook, and Deku's like, oh, yeah, can you sign my autograph? And then Deku opens up the notebook and says, yes! How'd you know? And All Might's like, every one of my fans doesn't escape a visit with me without an autograph. So, and then All Might puts the sludge villain in a little bottle and puts it in his pocket, and he's like, all right, I have to go. And then Deku's like, wait. And then, All Might's like, what is it? And Deku's like, can I be a hero like this? And pulls his mask off to reveal a avocado that looks like he had fun with an older avocado. And All Might almost pukes, like he gags, and he's like, oh, yes, you can be a hero no matter what you look like. And Deku's like, yes! And then All Might's like, please put your mask back on. Ugh. And Deku's like, oh, yes. Then he puts his mask back on. And All Might says, I have to go. And All Might jumps into the air. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where I'm going to leave this episode off here. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe. And while you're at it, United States of, smash the bell icon to be notified when part 2 to this video or another video comes out. So yeah, peace. Wait. You can't leave just yet. If you guys like Marvel or other types of heroes, make sure you guys go and check out one of these videos, depending on which one suits your taste. I know a certain taste I like. Yeah. I see you. Stop looking at me funny. But like I was saying, and if you want an easier way to subscribe, click on the channel icon right up in the right-hand corner. And that's it from me, Deadpool. I'll see you guys in part 2.